What's up, everybody? It's Joe La Puma. You were watching the Complex Sneakers Show. As always, I'm joined by my two friends, my two co-hosts, the highly opinionated Mr. Matt Welty.
I wish when we get to 200 episodes, we're going to air the 10 minutes we were talking before this as maybe as like a, one day we'll do like a Patreon or
behind
something.
the scenes, deleted bonus
features. If all of you pay us $10 a piece, maybe we'll drop it.
To my left, the man in the middle, even though he's to the left, Mr. Brendan Dunne. I almost, to be honest, I really almost want to just say what we were talking about.
Yeah, the energy was so high. So before we turned the cameras on, before we turned the mics on, there was a heated, fiery, charged debate.
I don't consider it heated,
Sparks
though.
flying. I saw sparks.
I don't consider it heated. Like, that's the thing. A lot
Volcanic.
Of people, we
were erupting.
Spirited discussion.
It was spirited.
Another thing, like, people always say yelling and heated. That to me was like a perfect discussion debate. Two friends.
Oh yeah, a respectful
we needed our.
He gets a little louder than me, though, in my old age.
Well, it happens. But we needed our former colleague Tony Moy to pop out with the Life at Complex
that would have been
camera.
a good one.
I thought you were going to say we needed Joe Budden to pop out and get right up in your face like this.
So basically, behind the scenes, let's you know, peek. What did it say? Lift up the curtain, like
pull back the curtain.
Pull back the curtain. We were talking about the new Travis album, and we'll leave that to like the music team. You could read their first impressions, but
Utopia.
Utopia. But it came up that we were talking about slaps, and you were talking about you working out and how you hear Gunna and Travis Scott and
that's all I hear for like hours and hours
at the box at the gym.
Yes, but to me, it's not saying I hate their music or they're awful artists. I'm not saying that, but it's just when I hear the music for like 2 hours on end, it just all kind of blends together to me. It doesn't bring out any like specific emotion or
rage
or just feeling
joy.
Of the second
euphoria.
Nope. Hold on. The second you hear a song that you really like or really gets you excited, the second the song turns on, all of a sudden your mood,
the dopamine receptors are firing.
Like Limp Bizkit Nookie for you.
Whatever.
If you would say it, so I'm not even
just something out. Someone throws on a Blink-182 song that you love. Someone throws on the Taylor Swift song.
All right, so and then the conversation, which lasted like 8 minutes.
Jeez,
it was
heated.
Let's just go to how it ended, where I was saying Travis Scott's Sicko Mode is an absolute slap.
And you said Travis Scott has a number of slaps, a catalog full of slaps.
Yes.
But you had
wait, but you hold on. Let's just water it down. Do you think Sicko Mode is a slap?
What I said is that you had boiled it down to if I was out in a club intoxicated, which I don't drink anymore, but it might. No, hold on, it's fine.
I didn't mean.
No, it's fine. I like just throwing it out there. Anyways.
Okay. Respect.
But in that era, if something like that came on, you're saying it's a universal slap, and I'm saying if I was in that situation in my life, it just wouldn't elicit or extract the same emotion out of me, so I can't consider it a quote unquote slap because it doesn't put me in that mood vibe zone as when that song comes on and instantly like you said, you get the dopamine receptor. So I don't get that feeling or emotion from it. I'm not saying it's a bad song. It just doesn't quote unquote slap to me.
Yeah, see, I was just coming at it as like, this shit slaps.
Yeah, but
it may not be my favorite song. This one I
but I think like something has to
mode.
slap to you personally to consider it a slap.
That's where we kind of disagree.
It's like talking about food. It's like you go to a barbecue restaurant and you eat the brisket there and you're like, this brisket slaps, right? You know that the second you eat it, it's great. And you can say that it slaps because you had that feeling where all of a sudden you had the reaction that it slaps. If a song doesn't hit you the same, well, you can't call it a slap.
I disagree. I think, and that's fine. Here's another question I would ask. Do you think more people feel like me or more people feel like you?
More people do feel like you, but it's totally fine. But
and I know, and
that's not going to make me ever...
No, and
that's not ever going to make me...
Yeah, but that's why he's great at this.
That's not going to make me change my mind.
I'm not asking you to.
Yeah. All right.
They pounded at the end.
Yeah.
An olive branch exchange between fists.
Seriousness, I had something. I mentioned this to Brendan.
Is this a sneaker thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I had something semi-sneaker related.
Oh,
I had something really odd happen to me last night.
Okay.
Speaking tangentially, maybe Drake. So I posted a picture of Pusha T wearing Prada's America Cup.
Yeah.
Classic
Classic
shoe.
in like Pusha
One of
being
the best.
like a hustler rapper. It totally makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up this morning and I'm like, why is there 167 quote tweets and 165 replies to a thing of Pusha T? I don't know if this is Drake related, but someone sent the Anti-Pusha T Bots.
The Russians got a hold of your X account?
Did you respond to everyone?
I don't know why it's not loading.
Damn. This weekly segment of Welty's tweets.
No, I'm just like,
Damn. What? So what were they
Russian
saying?
interference.
they're so absurd. They're hashtag Pusha T exposed. Pusha T started snorting crushed Benadryl pills after his 2009 BMW broke down. Pusha T messaging my sister asking for pictures of her salamander's feet. Hashtag Pusha T exposed. Pusha T gives cyanide to farm animals. Hashtag Pusha T exposed. Why are there? Why?
Yeah, come to Threads, baby.
Why are
Come
there?
to Threads. Okay.
Zuck will sort you out.
You know, come to Threads.
No.
But why? That, you know. I know. Listen, user population may be down 50 or 60%, but come to Threads. All right. America's Cup, great shoe. Pusha T, great rapper. That other stuff.
We don't know about all that.
The oddest thing. That just occurred.
Okay.
Very tangentially sneaker related.
Yeah, come on. You get involved in the conversation. Let's go.
I will say though,
Oh, he's still going.
interviewing Pusha over the years about footwear,
Really good.
one of
Great history.
the biggest like
Yep.
joys of just talking to someone.
We got to have him on full size run.
It's just
Oh, he'd be great.
awesome.
I hope that it happens one day.
It's Stephen Victor. Stephen Victor was on the podcast. We got.
I
the
remember
connection.
he had
easy.
said that this was connected to last week, that at one point, this is when his first Adidas shoe came out, the EQT with the
Packaging,
with
yeah.
the scales on
Fish
it.
scale.
That was one of the all-time best
Yes.
moments of sneaking in
Yeah.
reference to an illicit substance on
Yep.
a big sneaker brand project.
How did
And
Adidas-
sneaking in is
I
not
just
even
love
the right
it. You
word,
know,
'cause
John Wexler was in there talking that fish scale cash shit. You know he was too. We doing the packaging. You know John Wexler was too.
They had the fish scale. They had the fish scale
Yes.
leather on
Yeah.
the all white shoe,
And some
then
of
the
these things
Pyrex
are
lines on
Classic
the
Life at Complex, like Upscale Vandal brought the packaging. I think that day it was either the first model or the second, but
just hilarious shoe to have pushed through,
Yes.
no pun intended, and allowed that to exist at a brand like Adidas.
But connected to last week, I remember asking him. This is funny to think about now, where I'm like, "Hey, this is your first sneaker collaboration. Do you ever see yourself getting into the zone where you've done all of these sneaker collabs over the years?" I was like, I think he's friends with Ronnie. I was like, "Would you ever want to be like a Ronnie Feig?" And
Pusha?
where you get to that level of designing shoes. And he had said that basically he would be like God level of designing shoes if he ever gets to Ronnie's level of doing sneaker collaborations.
okay.
Tell that to the bots.
Right, exactly. Just reply to everyone.
Thank you
reply
for reading.
to every
with the
reply to
link.
every bot with how on trend mesh runners are today. That's what you need to do. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I wore them for you.
You see it.
I didn't know we were gonna have a little kerfluffle, but I wore them for you.
Wow, aligned in some regards,
Look.
disagreeing in others.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. These slap?
Yes.
Joe's asking about his shoes. Are they a
Okay.
slap? Are they a slap? Welty, by the way, and I don't want to talk about Travis Scott more than we have to, although we can later, pertaining specifically to his shoes. He was in Jersey City?
Did you give him the pass?
I didn't know that.
Travis Scott was in Jersey City.
Yeah.
When? Doing what?
I
He
should
was
be
with
asking you that.
Siraj, another person who was on the podcast.
He was with Siraj?
I think Siraj saw him.
Siraj,
Yeah.
obviously.
Saw him is different than
No,
he was with him.
I think Siraj was with him, but they didn't invite
No,
you?
they didn't give me a call.
Damn.
They heard about the disrespect.
They knew that you were going to say sicko mode is not a slap. I'm glad they didn't invite you. you know, say your ass at the Red Bulls game.
Welty's influence is not to be played down, though.
No, he listen. You know what? I'm not even going hard at him, but you know, I'm feeling a little good to give him a little like
friendly
jab in the
bump?
paint because
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
on
it's
a
fine.
roll. He's on a roll. He's been dialed in. The comments are noticing. Even Kelly Oubre, I felt like he was throwing some zingers out. You know, I told him. I told him Friday night. I was like, listen, I was watching. I was like, oh, you know,
Kelly Oubre on full size run?
yeah. I was like, you were dialed in. You know, respectfully, he's gonna bring it. You know. He's going to bring it. You always bring it, but
Thank
you
you.
seem like you're on a different level of dialed in lately. When you know when
He's
it started.
Would you say he's in sicko mode?
Exactly, exactly. And you know when it started? When he was rattling off every Kobe model from samples to PEs.
Keep talking,
Listen, like go back
Thought
when
this guy didn't know Nike basketball. He knows the SKUs.
I said it
in
in
the
that
stock
episode.
room.
He blacked out like Will Ferrell in Old School. Okay, when he was rattling off those Kobe's. I think that was like
Rattling them off.
Can we talk
like a rattlesnake?
Yeah.
No, Mamba.
Can we talk about
milk snakes?
Because
Remember the milk snake Kobe's? I like those.
it'll be out
Don't
now.
get him started.
It'll be out now, but legendary full size run moment that occurred yesterday when we filmed it.
Yes.
We had the one and only Michael Strahan,
Legend,
NFL Hall of Famer,
Giants,
legend, Super Bowl
champion.
Brendan Dunne decided to make a joke to Michael Strahan about
we do.
the
You
time
saw what he
the
did to
time
Brady
he got
in the Super Bowl.
the
He
time
could
he
take
got
care of you easily.
the time he got cooked on the resale market buying a pair of bred Jordan 11s for a girlfriend's son at the time, and
Okay.
I guess he didn't take too kindly to Brendan making
He got
the
in
joke.
formation. No Beyonce.
Brendan was gonna skip his fit. He got in the 3-point stance and looked him dead in the eyes
to
and
face.
said, "Are you gonna skip my fit or not?"
Did your life flash before your eyes? Did
I
you
was,
see
yeah,
what him?
I was going back through all 100 episodes of the Complex Sneakers show.
Yeah, you saw what Strahan and OCU Manure did in that Super Bowl? Forget it. Forget
Absolutely
it.
not, but-
He was on sneaker shopping, but I had a great moment with him at the Nike ID studio. Him, Justin Tuck.
Oh, he brought that up.
DJ Clark Kent.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't think Clark Kent was, but I think Justin Tuck was roasting Strahan's designs. He's come a long way. He was on sneaker shopping, full size run.
Brent,
Great guest, though. I can't wait to watch that.
Is that the only time, Brendan, you would agree that I know you'd like to take pride in saying that other people won't sway your opinions or people won't get you to say things that maybe you don't agree in, but Michael Strahan was staring you dead in the eyes in the 3-point stance saying, if you skip my outfit, I'm going to hit you right out, and I think you gave him a drip on it?
I mean, I gave him a drip because I felt like that was best for the bit.
He's about the content.
I was trying to play the role. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, he's not actually going to tackle me on the set of our sneaker show.
I mean, what if it happened?
Then that's even better.
Let me ask you, actually, if that happened, would you have his back? Would you try? Like,
Come on, this is what you've been training for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
Lifting
mean, you being the
gigantic weights.
you being the most like
I feel like
muscular, maybe on set. Would you be?
I
Would
feel
you?
like I would have to, like, if he's in the 3-point stance and it's going to happen,
Yeah.
just jump on the back and hit him with the rear naked choke.
Man, what? We're
Okay.
choking out
It
guests
got
now?
a little dark. Okay.
That's
Okay.
that's the best.
Okay.
That's the best.
It's hypothetical. Yeah.
I wanna not lose this thread. No pun intended. But I mentioned earlier
See you on there.
he's spinning up his pebbled ice. That I don't want to downplay Welty's influence because actually after our shoot I came home, a pair of black Air Max 97s on feet, took them off by the door. My girlfriend goes, "Oh, big JLP shoe."
Ooh, let's go.
Oh, wow.
Let's go. Get it trademarked.
And I was like, "You're absolutely right. This is a huge
Shouts to her.
JLP shoe.
Love to hear it.
Black
Love
Air
to
Max
see it.
97s with the
Yeah.
gold accents. I don't think you have them though.
No, I don't. I got the silver bullet OGs and the Ronaldizis. I call them gold.
Call 'em that?
I know.
I just
Don't call
do
them
it for
that.
the content.
I know Joe hasn't came around to them yet, but have you seen how many people are talking about these Brendan, these blue glow Vomeros?
He was
Told
right.
ya.
He was
Told ya.
right. He was
Vomeros.
predicting it.
Have you? I don't know. I've been seeing that shoe
Nice shoe.
all over this week. It looks just kind of like a white, maybe I think it's a tan suede black hits, but the middle panel and the sole in the dark glows to blue.
I love that the Vomero narrative too, because now people are adding me. Is there a shot with like when a
Will
new
he do it?
Yeah,
Will he
when
do
a new,
it?
when a new Vomero will go on the Complex Sneakers social and
Yeah.
this is releasing whatever.
Not on any of those other accounts.
Yeah, exactly. At JLP, any shot of these sticking
All the marketing specialists in
Exactly.
Beaverton.
Wait, what about the one that I shared the other day, where I think it was Paolo Maldini from the Italian
Yes.
national
Did you see
team?
Rudy Calderon
Oh,
of Yao Ming
yeah,
fame is on vacation? He replied to you this morning. Did you?
I didn't see it yet.
All
no.
right, engage
It
with
was
him.
lost in the
Lost in the
Pusha
T Bots.
Pusha. Yeah, but
What did he say?
He said, "Hold on, get it
But
real quick."
for the record, he was wearing a pair of white. He was wearing the slate,
remember
the
those.
slate blue.
I remember those
Air
too.
Max 95 OGs. I think people call them French blue. It was in the 90s.
Rudy.
Italian. I think World Cup maybe. with the socks tucked into the track pants.
Rudy said Maldini don't miss plus Nike era of Azori.
Yeah.
With the kissing emoji and the...
With the Italian, yep.
Chef's kiss.
Wait, so would that picture inspire you to maybe try a white Air Max 95?
No. But but listen, they're crushing it. They're crushing it.
Should we talk about the shoes we're wearing on feet?
Yes.
Mesh runners. You guys got some mesh runners on today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Welty, what are you wearing?
Oh, you go first?
Okay, sure. I have some Reebok Club C. This is the all gone Paperboy Paris pair with the pink
Complex Con shoe?
accents on them. Yeah, from Complex Con. I got the pink
Those look
socks
nice.
to go with them. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you say that, although sometimes I look down and feel like they don't look that nice because the leather on the toe box is a little bit warped
creased,
from the rain. I think it was. I think I got caught in the rain once in them, so...
Oh, they look good.
Does it hit different for you now I know you don't wear the white leather Reeboks as much as when it was your signature era, but I think you were known for wearing like the super cooked pairs during that time, but now to have kind of a semi-fresh white leather
good.
on.
You know what also felt good that he was known for back then? The bag that they gave him. So maybe, the re-up, maybe all of a sudden the Paperboy comes out, the Club C's come out, We had the C. Listen, the CEO sat.
Is there any movement on after we had the one and only Todd Krinsky on the show and made a joke to, hey, you're going to get Brendan a shoe at Complex Con?
Yeah, Todd's on top of it.
Okay. We need to bring in Rich Paul to broker that deal? Oh, he's New Balance. He wouldn't do it.
We'll be all right.
Okay.
Joe, what do you got on feet?
I got the Dime.
Hopping right on the trend.
860 V2.
Speaking of bags, you dropped the bag on those?
Dipping my toe into the mesh.
How long have you had these?
3 weeks.
Do you feel like you hopped on a trend when you got them? Or do you not care about that?
Let me tell you something. I couldn't give a damn.
It's an honest question. It's an innocent question.
On a trend?
About hopping. I like them. He brought them up.
Yeah.
And I got them after the podcast because I was influenced by
Welty's
him.
influence still
Absolutely.
happened.
Still.
Absolutely.
Those are similar color to the
Jound.
No, I was going to say similar color to the Inter Milan Air Max 97s that you've been putting a lot of burn on lately, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How does it feel wearing those lately, Joe?
Inter Milan?
Yeah.
Great. Been wearing those like every single weekend.
Arrivederci.
Great. I love these though. I love this. I love navy blue. I like the mesh. I'm not hopping totally on the trend, but yeah, I'm dipping my toe.
The Y2K trend.
Yeah, exactly. Y2K.
Shout out.
I never heard of the term Y2K.
As it relates to footwear.
Yeah, and he was bringing that in. We never brought it up on this podcast.
When he said that, I don't think I had heard that yet, per se. It's interesting because I've heard that with Gen Z, they've been oddly going back and revisiting like Deftones vintage shirts and stuff like that are super popular. So I guess that makes sense if you say Y2K.
Yeah.
Not just footwear wise, but as a whole is a trend. Like you see the Korn Adidas shoes that feels very Y2K. 99, 2000s. That's like peak Korn.
Well, the song Adidas came out in 96. I think,
Well, I would say when Korn blew up, I know that song was from before, but when I think of like the rap rock trend, I think of like maybe like 98 to like 2001.
Yeah. But the Y2K terminology on sneakers, I think, refers to something just after in the 2000s, in the early 2010s even, that silvery...
Yeah, it's like 2006 to 2011 era of mesh running shoes.
Yeah, and it's a term I've seen used in internal brand documents when they're describing the trend and describing this general look. Sorry, Welty.
No, totally fine. These are just Saucony Triumph, Pro Grid Triumph 4s.
Feeling triumphant today?
They look like
the bees.
Yeah, Wu-Tang Killer Bees.
Oh, yeah.
Which makes sense.
How about that? Can we take it back to Travis Scott for a moment?
Yeah, for sure.
The most boring possible version of a collaboration. This is a man who has slaps and even has sneaker slaps, but this Utopia Nike Air Force One did not need to exist.
It's just the all-white one with the...
It's lasered on, right?
It looks like lasering on the back there. Also, they're $150. I know we're all used to paying more just because someone's name is attached to a shoe, but this is a little too much for what appears to mostly be a white-on-white Air Force One.
Oh, one thing I want to address, and you said I've been on a roll where I maybe had an L lately, and Joe took the brunt of it, and I'll admit that it was my mistake.
Okay.
sneaker shopping episode with Phantom.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Yes.
People know I work behind the scenes and try to help out putting some sneaker information on.
Not try. He helped. Both of these guys help out.
So we've done how many episodes?
We're a lot. Over 250, 260?
Enough.
Yeah, a lot.
I mean, you try to have a good batting percentage, but once in a while, maybe
Yeah,
you
you
don't
gotta-
see something and
you
you make a
gotta-
mistake. I said that on the call out sneaker section at the end, I said that he was wearing white Air Force Ones. He was wearing white Air Force Ones, but he was wearing the certified lover boy Air Force Ones, and
It's okay.
my eyes deceived me for a second, and
Well, it was very tough. It was tough to identify. I think he also had the jeans over the sneakers, which was tough. And then,
Trying to cover him up.
yeah, on set, I couldn't even realize it. They
but
looked like
I just
one-on-one
wanted
lows
for
to me.
transparency's sake, because I know people were
It's okay.
trying to say something about it.
Yeah, and I pronounced AMP wrong. Won't make that mistake
Owning
again.
up to all of our mistakes
You know,
today.
won't make that mistake again.
This is the real behind-the-scenes content that
streamers
they
were
come
on my
here
head a
for.
little bit last night, but yeah. But
Okay,
let's
these
go back
Travis
to
Scott Air
yeah.
Force Ones, this Utopia Air Force One. It just raises the question for me, and I know it must be the case, but does Nike ever say no to this man?
You've been I don't want to say pushing this narrative, but this is like a narrative that you've like held on to like
Yes.
lately where
Do less with Travis Scott.
yeah.
Nike, please.
Seems like you really are into that. Yeah.
I guess maybe it's becoming repetitive at this point, but,
But
he's
here's what
proving
I would
himself
say.
again and again of like what and obviously these go up on his merch site, and this is a ploy partly to boost album sales because you can add a music product for $5, and it's this bundle thing that a lot of artists have been doing with merch for years.
Didn't he do that with the concert sales or whatever with the Kylie Cosmetics? Wasn't there something?
I think so. Yeah, a similar approach to bundling. It's just a bit much for me.
I gotta zag a little bit though. If you're a fan of him, to me, it's something cool that you would want to own.
I get
Maybe
it.
not for us.
The
I mean,
threshold for cool is really low.
but
here.
like it's an Air Force One with the album on it. I would say, listen, creativity wise, no, it's
Nothing,
not.
yeah.
But like as a add on to the album that you're excited about, definitely not for us.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be wearing the Utopia Air Force Ones, but I could see like younger fans or even super fans being like, yeah, that's something that I would be interested in.
Plays devil's advocate real quick because this ties on to a conversation me and Brendan Dunne were actually having in the office the other day. Let's take it back to the real Y2K. Let's take it back to like 2003, 2004. We were talking about buying underground rap albums on sandboxautomatic.com.
We're everywhere today.
The
I
other
love
day,
this.
I'm in the office bumping Cannibal Ox, The Cold Vein. Brendan Dunne has been on the hunt for a Def Jux tour T-shirt that he saw a man wearing outside of the
Did you
office.
find it?
It's $250.
on eBay.
But
Revenge of the Robots tour.
There's a
we were
fly in
we
here,
were
by
ta-
the way.
we were
There's a fly floating around.
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Breaking Bad. Go on, Welty.
we were talking about back in that era how cool it was that you could pre-order a Cage or Mr. Liff album and you'd pay extra $20 and you'd get the poster, the T-shirt, a signed poster and a
Yeah.
T-shirt with it, and you wish you had like held on to those items. I know a sneaker's a little different, but can't you imagine a kid who listens to Travis now where you have a sneaker that's directly tied to the album where you said like the bundles
Yeah.
per se, but they'd be more hyped on getting that, even maybe more so than an olive Travis One Low or Air Max 270.
I do see that argument to an extent, but I don't know how you could ever be more excited over that Air Force One than you are an actual legitimate Travis Scott product from Nike that was developed and thought about and colored up and things like that, like a 270 or Air Max One.
I agree, but I just think it's a total add-on. Like excited about
It's
the
an
album.
add-on, but the other word is a throwaway. Like
I
he's
almost
got a
feel- I
real
almost feel the
sneaker
opposite,
catalog.
though.
Do you think that he puts that in his sneaker catalog? I don't. It's a little different for us to look at it because it is a sneaker, but to me, it's like a piece of merch, more so than a sneaker collab.
But I feel the opposite.
You like it?
I'm not saying that I like it, but I view it from the sense of it's actually something that's tied to his music. So if you were a fan, that the shoe might
That's where I
actually
feel.
feel more important than just a random collaboration, because one, they're probably going to be more limited. I don't know.
Yeah.
Same with like the certified Loverboy Drake Air Force ones where it's like tied to the album. They did like a smart flip on it. Or I think the one shoe that didn't even come out from Drake. Obviously, I think Drake has had some of the worst sneaker collaborations from a big artist of all time that they haven't been great. But one of the shoes that they did that never came out, there was a Views Air Jordan 6 Low that just said Views on, like it was like an all white shoe that just said Views.
He's got so many unreleased Jordans from
and
when
I'm
that
like, that's
relationship
cool
soured.
because it's something that's tied to his music. And if you're a fan, you probably want something that speaks more towards like the piece of art that's like almost like it feels more of a collector's item than just like a marketed product. I don't
Okay.
know.
You threaded the needle there.
That's how I
You
feel.
threaded the needle there. We'll use the thread once again, and I feel like that is the best possible explanation for why this thing could mean something because it's tied to something very specific back to the music. I still think as a shoe we can all agree it's the most boring thing ever. But I know what you mean. I know.
But
what
it still maybe even ties back to an era of there's so many Nike shoes that are just people say, oh, boring white Air Force Ones, but you know they made like a USDA or a Yeezy like Snowman Air Force One. Where there was just like the emblem on the heel, or like a
small upgrade to a regular
Rockefeller Air Force One, or the Blueprint 2 Air Force Ones, where there's nothing special about the shoe except for the logo on it, but the logo tied to the music means everything.
Yeah, but I also think that those ones are in a different category because they came 20 years ago when this thing hadn't evolved, where we expect so much more. So that just a simple logo hit felt more special then. But I know what you mean in terms of tying it to the music.
I guess it's funny because people always say, you know, I hate the kids and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think you can fault someone who's 17 years old at this.
That's what I'm saying.
At this point where they never, like you said, that happened 20 years ago, but they never had the opportunity to participate in something like that. So maybe them getting a Utopia Air Force One is the closest they're ever going to feel to getting a Rockefeller Air Force One when it first came out.
Yeah, fair. And also, you are totally right. I have been on this wave. Maybe I'm the hater at this point, but it's becoming a thing.
I
where
agree.
We talk about Travis shoes so much, and my opinion on them kind of stays the same. Of like, man, there's really a lot.
I mean, I agree because I would say, and I said it this week, where I've been thinking about it because the two shoes lately, you have the Billie Eilish Alpha Force 88s, and then you have the Travis Mac Attacks, where they're two OG shoes from Nike's lineage that don't need any like added level of storytelling to them. You can kind of like take the story that Michael Jordan wore the shoe back in the day. Here's John.
You think
McEnroe.
they're hot on their own?
Hot on their own. And why are you doing collaborations with these two artists on the original colorways of the shoes where you don't really need to, where you can do other things with those artists? I'm not saying F Travis Scott or Billie Eilish. I'm just saying you should create product for them that's special and stands out and
stands apart from this very known original version.
Where it's like you don't need them to tell the story, and then you also should tell more of their story. This isn't part of their story at all. So you're almost doing a disservice to the fans by not somehow elaborating more on what these artists mean to them.
They got to get him out to Beaverton. You're firing right now. I love this.
A little focus group. I guess using them helps open up the story to a new audience.
Trust me.
Silhouettes that we may be super familiar with and know the history of.
I do think it's interesting. The last thing I'm just going to say is that I had said that, and then I got a comment from Jimo Wong, used to be at Jordan Brand and made a lot of limited product, and he thinks where Nike went awry lately or just not doing smart stuff is that he thinks that the brand got really lazy during the pandemic and whatever that means, and not having people do their best work, and then maybe stuff like this happens because people were mailing it in. It's just an interesting take.
Yeah.
Okay.
One sneaker that I think we can all agree is not mailed in, and even if we don't like it, is an absurd looking shoe that deserves some amount of respect. Or
that you broke the news on.
Yeah,
right?
broke it.
No big deal there. Cactus Plant Flea Market Nike Air Flea 2. Soul Retriever had actually reported earlier this year that they were on the way, and we had the first images of them that we published this past week. Franz from Turnstile wore them on stage at Rolling Loud in Miami. This was such a cool moment to me also in terms of the no pun intended rollout. Sorry. But just this is a moment where a shoe is seen in the wild for the first time, and it takes a while to really be noticed. You know, some of these people, you mentioned Travis Scott or Billie Eilish, every single sneaker that they wear, we're going to scrutinize it. And if they were to wear a never before seen Nike shoe, we would know about it within minutes of the images being public. But this was a cool, you know, slow, quiet moment where he wore them on stage, again, bassist from Turnstile, at Rolling Loud. And it was days later that people finally started to pick up on it. And again, we got the nice clear photos of the sneaker, first look of it on feet. And I just enjoy that. It felt more organic in a way. And maybe I'm just saying this because we broke the story. But
I'm not a fan of that shoe per se.
Yeah.
And it's not because I don't want to say, oh, it's whack, I hate Cactus. It's not any of that. I said that I think that we're in an era where you have a lot of funky shoes.
Yeah.
But the shoes are tied to some sort of actual function.
Yeah.
That just feels like it's just weird for weird's sake, where it wasn't designed for anything. It's just you want to make what a crazy shoe looks like in your mind, rather than, okay, I designed it this way because doing X activity, it works better for that. So to me, it feels like a little off, but I do think we're also in a cool moment too, going back to the corn thing in Turnstile, where we're noticing that maybe just outside of always having a rap artist be like the go-to collaborator or unveiler or whatever, realizing there's like different genres of music that have influenced sneaker culture over the years. Like if you go back to our episode of Full Size run a couple weeks ago, we have Dom from Brooklyn Projects on. He's at a hardcore show in the late 80s wearing a pair of Saucony high tops and making it look
the spot builds. Yeah. And he was actually talking about going to brands and being like, why don't you more often embrace this rich history of metal acts or rock groups from the 80s and 90s wearing sneakers that is just as relevant in a way as are the other more standard.
So that's why I thought Turnstile being a hardcore band unveiling the shoe is
and
just
Franz is a real sneaker guy.
Just a cool moment, you know?
I also think, obviously has like a little Balenciaga Defender DNA to it.
Oh, 100%.
But here's what I would say though. I think it looks cool. I couldn't wear it.
I could see you wearing those.
I don't know if I could get those off.
Big JLP.
I don't know if I could get those off.
JLP shoe?
I don't know if I could get those off, but it does.
Bro.
As funky as it looks with the very cool.
With the Kith Nike track pants.
I feel like Yachty could get these off. No? Yes.
Sure.
I feel like people are going to be able to get these off. And I do think looking at these pictures, a lot going on, but they look cool. Obviously, in this colorway is totally my colorway.
Yeah,
it's
black and alabaster. Here's the thing, though. Welty mentioned that he feels like the shoes aren't designed for any specific purpose, and I do kind of agree with that. But also, it gets really tough to tell, especially, I mean, I feel this way about a lot of these top-tier Nike projects where they're not going to make people available to be interviewed about the shoes or to explain the choices that went into their design, and that makes them feel all the time opaque, but also like, why does this exist? Why did you do this like this?
Cynthia Liu,
exactly,
the head of Cactus Plant, who actually was an intern at Complex back in the day.
And also heavily involved in Pharrell Louis Vuitton now.
She likes to be such a private person where it doesn't talk
so I think
publicly. So it
Cactus specifically, you like don't get any insight into why does this shoe have moss growing off of it? Why is there a big, chunky, dirty looking outsole?
Did you see Drewski lace up the Cactus Plant with the Nelk video?
No.
Oh, really funny.
The only memory or anything that I have, I think this was when I was still an intern at Complex, and she wasn't an intern, but shout out Sue Young, the old editor for the Style, who was running things. I think it was her and Gian De Leon were taking me to some basketball game, like after I was being an intern in the office.
Getting buckets?
I don't remember. We were walking through the subway, and then Cynthia came out of nowhere and was just beside us. And then Sue Young goes, "Oh, this is my former intern. She always wears the coolest stuff. Look at her Versace socks." And then she goes, "Oh yeah, that's me." And then she just like ran off like into the wherever, and like it's just like weird like blip. I just remember that one little like instance.
Shouts to Cynthia, and we're not going to go down the whole rabbit hole of Cactus Plant sneakers, but I still love those Vapor Maxes. I know.
Big JLP shoe.
Oh, I love those Vapor Maxes.
And the JLP custom shoe surgeon Air Force Ones.
Yep. And I even yes.
Based on the Cactus
Plant
Flea
I love
market.
Those are fire.
Okay, I want to ask this though.
Okay.
I agree, not going too deep down the rabbit hole here, but this is an ongoing conversation that I think is interesting, and it definitely elicited some responses within the industry, even if they've not been made public. But Welty's saying that Nike's only collaborators that matter are Travis Scott and who was it? Last week on the podcast, you said Nike's
Cortez.
Cortez. Do you think Cactus Plant matters?
I do, but I think Cactus Plant, they fell into like a weird rabbit hole. They fell into a weird gap where we don't need all these collaborations all the time, which agreed. But I feel like that Cactus Plant dunk that they did for whatever reasons,
or the Air Flea one, the one from last year.
Yeah.
Ended
up being it was almost like a not debacle, but there was like the
delays, and the one pair came out, and
the other one didn't. And there was like a lot of people said that the reason why it didn't release is because there were sizing issues with the shoe, where
Oh, right.
Where I don't know how true it was, but like it almost felt like the shoe was the men's sizes were actually made to the women's sizes, that the shoe just fits not like a little tight. It just didn't fit. So there was the other colorway that never came out. Then the big Grinch shaved down one, which is it's cool, but it never really caught on as much outside of a few like Instagram videos because no one was really gonna wear it.
Yeah.
Besides our co-host Trinidad James, who
he
wore
crushed
it with the Nets
Yep,
braids
Jumbotron, stunting on the Jumbotron.
Jumbotron shit popping.
But I think that her and her Nike collaborations were pretty hot for a minute, and then I think maybe people forgot about it for a second.
Yeah,
and then maybe it's on the way back. Or
I like this shoe, although you have to mention the Balenciaga Defender, as Joe did.
Yeah.
I can understand why people would be mad at this shoe or saying it just looks like a cycling sneaker or something like that. But I do think it's on the right side of, pushing the Nike design team to make as weird a shoe as possible. And maybe it's just for the sake of it. Again, we don't totally know, but I do think there's something honorable in that or something interesting in that. And I think that has gone wrong plenty of times.
Although it does,
pretty cool.
The one thing that I'm brought back to when I see it is it reminds me a bit of like ISPA.
Yes, for sure.
Work where ISPA to me is the side of ACG that doesn't have like practical function to some degree.
Interesting. I mean, they're not officially part of ACG, but you feel like it's like adjacent to that.
But there's all these like, look what like the buttons that this shoe has, but they don't really like. There's the one shoe where like the elastic band comes off and the sole removes, but there's like no actual practical application for that for wearing. Talking about fleas.
Yeah, I wonder if the
Is
fly's
fly
going to show
floating
up.
around?
Honestly, I wonder if the fly's going to show up.
Cactus Pant Fly Market?
It is, right?
Yeah, it's just on the edge of like I wanted to almost last week. We didn't obviously have time to talk about it. I remember we've talked about the Road Warrior, the ISPA, and our Ronnie Feig was a huge co-signer of that. But I almost
hated that shoe.
But I almost want to ask him. We're like 2 or 3 years removed from that shoe now.
I bought one recently too.
Why? Do you feel bad about it?
I don't feel bad, but
sounds like there's. I'm sensing a tinge of regret.
I would say I remember, and I also remember I was like bullish, like, well, you haven't tried it out. I said to him in the Slack, I don't think it aged particularly well.
So
I think it was like a new technology, and
but there was
again, I bought one fairly recently.
To it. It was just weird for weird's sake. Like you're saying, it wasn't this new hiking or running shoe that has this new technology in it where you're like, oh, that's really cool. It was just like, let me see what I can put on a shoe.
Yeah, I think he got that one.
Thank you, Joe.
But that almost feels like, because we talk about it on Full Size Run when we ask people, what's your most regrettable sneaker purchase? It feels like but the Road Warrior is a regrettable sneaker purchase these years later. How much was that shoe? $500?
I don't know. I don't think my version was $500. I would have to check. It was a more recent one.
Not a cheap sneaker. Not a sneaker we ever need to see.
Man, most regrettable purchase, I'm wondering.
Oh, no.
I know what it is.
What?
The white Supreme Blazer instead of the black or red.
Yeah, you mentioned that, yeah. One thing that we talked about recently on this week's episode of Full Size Run, but now that we're talking about the cactus plant shoe, reminds me of that I think Brendan's pretty hyped about is the Nike Mach.
Yeah,
coming back. Like when I see that sole, it doesn't look the same, but there's something about that
So
black.
That's a suede upper, right?
There are different versions of it. There are suede versions, but there's some leather one. There was a leather set of them from mid 2010s. I want to say that was one of the shoes that I would often hit eBay looking for. Although a leather Mach, can you imagine how little your feet would be able to breathe in a shoe like that? I don't even know if it's right to call it.
Is that something you're going to go for when it comes out now?
I guess if the right upper was available for the shoe. I do have an OG pair, but they're a size 11, which, as we know, is way far off from my actual real human shoe size. So, but with the right Mach, I could be in for it. Can we talk about the born and raised dunk?
Yes.
Yes.
situation?
So yes, some clarity. There was some back and forth on that. I think it started basically with an internet rumor. Is that fair to categorize it as that?
Yeah, one guy on Twitter wrote, quote, just got the call, born and raised is canceled. And then another account, Whorehead Sales, I think it is. I'm not super familiar with either of these accounts, though, so I can't comment on, like, generally
The verification
veracity
of, like,
of what
yeah.
they say. Not saying they're great, not saying they're not great. But this other account, Whorehead Sales, quote tweeted it, seemingly backing it up, but kind of in a vague way. And then from there, some other accounts ran with the info saying, oh, born and raised Nike dunk is canceled. Kicks Finder on Twitter wrote, oh, the shoe is canceled. I think people just took this small bit of information and ran with it and turned it into this idea that the sneaker was canceled. There's no real indication. We reached out to Nike, to Born and Raised, that the shoe is canceled yet. And I don't think that there's a world in which that happens. I think that it was kind of a game of telephone is what I'm imagining, that something happened and some accounts weren't getting the shoes, and then that turned into some people maybe saying that the shoe is canceled, and then other people just took that as the shoe is canceled, but that's not the case from what I understand.
To bring it back to, I think mentioned before, but Dom,
Yeah,
Brooklyn
I saw
Projects, he was talking about it online where there was he said that this is basically the end of the sneaker game of people making up.
Didn't he say that the accounts are going to get canceled or something?
No, he didn't say they were. He said he posted that people were posting rumors that, people were backdooring their shoes and now they have their account canceled and Nike stripped it. And he's like,
we don't know if that's true or not. I'm not saying.
But he was
true.
saying, like, there's no.
No, he said that's stupid.
Yeah.
Essentially. And I would take it from someone who.
The OG.
Who has Nike SB collaborations and has a Nike SB account that maybe. That's not true.
And so what information did you get?
I don't have a lot right now that we can share, or nothing that the brands are going to comment on just yet. I would say that I wouldn't be surprised if what happens with the shoe is Nike SB accounts don't get them, and instead Born and Raised gets all the allocation and gets to sell them as they wish. Yeah. And to me, that feels like a likely scenario, and that is a scenario that could lead to the confusion of some people somewhere saying, oh, this is canceled. If they talk
semantics,
let's say,
a little bit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not blaming any of the accounts who originally posted it, because I do think it got telephoned around and passed around and simplified in a way that it shouldn't have been. But I do think that, again, this is a hypothetical situation. If somebody was trying to reach out to a store and say, hey, are you still going to get these? And the store said, no, we're not getting them. And then in their mind, they said, that means the shoe is canceled, when in fact it could mean, and this is the reality that I'm anticipating, that Nike SB stores won't get them, and instead Born and Raised has all of them, and that's the solution to the problem. Because I don't think Nike would want to, and I don't think Born and Raised would want to just destroy the shoes and not celebrate this moment with the sneaker.
That makes no sense. The idea of them destroying the shoes, it's just...
I'd agree. I think they'll be distributed some way.
I believe so.
As like, and now, like, sadly and tragically, as like some sort of homage. You know?
For the passing of Sponto.
Absolutely.
Yeah, mention that, and not to be too much of a Debbie Downer, but also, sadly enough, Angus Cloud passed away yesterday. I know you had him on sneaker shopping.
Yeah, and I'm such a sad passing and tragic passing, and
his father had passed away. Like
absolutely, and way too young, and
25.
Yeah, just we were fortunate to get one of his rare interviews on Sneaker Shopping. I think it was a little over a year, and a year
was in
ago,
the height of Euphoria too, right?
Yeah, I remember that episode went live, I think, the day after the season finale of that season, I believe. And I remember such a nice guy on set, and then he was joined kind of later in the episode by Javon Walton, who played like his co-star.
Kid,
yeah, and they were just like hanging out, and Javon's dad was there, and just like remember Angus going into the Grail case.
Well, that was the infamous scene where you're interviewing Javon, and he's like, "Well, can I
Yeah.
go in here?" And then he's in the middle of it while you're doing the interview.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that I remember, I think, even leaving set, and Angus was just chilling outside of Flight Club, maybe with Jose and some other people on the crew, and he was like such a nice guy. Another tragic loss, someone gone too soon, and thoughts go out to his family and friends, and just fortunate that you get to kind of spend time with them, and just really sad, and gone too soon.
Yeah, absolutely. One more thing I want to mention on the Born and Raised dunk issue is that this happens a lot, where we see what we believe to be a piece of misinformation floating around, and it's kind of a weird calculus to have to determine of at what point do you try and reach out and stop what seems to be misinformation, or do you just ignore it? And, you know, I think Z Sneakerheads made a post, and I trust him. He's one of the most accurate leakers out there, I think, saying, hey, this isn't the case. This shoe is not canceled. But it's just this kind of process we have every time something comes up like that is like, oh, has this spread enough to where we need to make a news post on the website saying, hey, this is not true? Or like,
Sometimes I think we've posted stuff like that where we've had, you know, conversations where maybe it's a bit of info. Or I think in the past where it was fake Louis Vuitton, the auction Air Force Ones were starting to hit the market. And it was like, hey, just heads up, the fake Louis Vuitton, which is like $100,000 shoe, is starting to hit.
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because this past week we've saw a video online where I know we've had the conversation about reps a bunch on here, but there was someone who posted their rep collection where they looked like they were
a TikTok video, right? Describe this to me.
They look like they were all dead stock, and I know a lot of people out there go, "Hey, I buy reps because the bots, or screw the bots. This is my way of getting the shoes." So he has a shoe closet full of shoes that were never available to bots because many of them were never available to the public for a sale. In general, there's a lot of the friends and family.
Yeah.
Travis Scott shoes. Speaking about sneakers, the SBs that got destroyed, Brendan.
Freddy Krueger, SB Dunks, yeah.
Yes.
SBs, Nike Mags. It's just shoes
Kanye West Bapestas.
Yeah,
sneakers that you would never, ever be able to attain unless you were quite rich or quite tapped in 20 years ago.
And the user is Cedaz, Cedaz. I believe maybe his name is Eben. And yeah, to your point, it's him going through these Grail level replicas.
Yeah.
And it was from the conversation that we were having about where you were basically saying, like, you know, you basically understand the phenomenon of replicas, but when you have like these Grail level super hype
it's like
shoes,
it's almost at some point you have to be honest with yourself that you're doing this for other people's. I know you may like the shoes, but you're doing it for other people's validation, or you're doing it so other people think you have the real shoes. Like, you have to.
How is it the case that all the shoes you want are the most expensive, the most rare, the most
and I had
elusive pairs?
asked a couple like other week where I'm like, hey, if these shoes weren't worth $20,000, would it still be your Grail?
Like, he's got on the shelf here Wahlburger Jordan 4s. Like, is that really? Do you really like that shoe? And it's a question we should always ask ourselves, and we all fall victim to it, of whether or not we like a shoe based on it being rare or expensive. This guy's bare feet in this video. I didn't need to see that, but yeah.
Yeah, but that was a 2-week-old video, and I definitely saw some discussion around it yesterday. And
or even to bring it back to we had when we had Michael Strahan on Full Size Run. I know he's not supposed to be the end all be all of real or not, but he goes, we don't wear fake shoes. It's okay if not everyone has everything.
For some reason, I don't think Michael Strahan's opinion on this is gonna sway people away from it. But yeah, it's an interesting. I saw one person commenting on it on Twitter. Saying, you know, good on Gen Z for doing this. It's Nike refuses to fix the bot problem.
But that's the other side of it.
To me,
I don't
but
know.
And a lot of comments on our YouTube, though.
No, because I feel like this is where
flies.
This is where we need to be more objective with what we're talking about
because of the shoes.
Those shoes have there's the Travis Scott Mocha Jordan 1s in there, and maybe I think the Travis Scott 4s, the blue pair. But
those are shoes that you could reasonably say, I'm mad I can't get these because the quote unquote bots. I think there's
the one lows as well, the Travis 1 lows, but 90% of those shoes have nothing to do with bots.
Yes.
Like the Nike Mags were only released for the Michael J. Fox Foundation.
A charity auction. How could you be mad at that release? Raise millions of dollars for Parkinson's research.
He has the purple friend you mentioned, though. Yeah. He has the purple Travis Friends and Family.
Or the Freddy Krueger Nike SB is a shoe that never got released due to legal issues behind the shoe, in which Nike, they say that supposedly they were going to trying to destroy the pair, so there's like oil or whatever on the shoes where they try to burn them in a factory. I don't know.
Does he say how much he paid for each pair?
No, it's not mentioned in the video that I could tell.
But I think you're just conflating two different issues.
Yes.
There, where the one person,
yeah. But this one person who made that comment is the one where it's spread on Twitter.
That's the one where
FEO Flacco, I think the person's name.
I just think that saying that you're mad at Nike for bots has nothing to do with I can't get friends and family only shoes.
Yeah.
Those are two completely separate things. And the only reason why you want those shoes is like, yeah, you may think a purple Travis Scott Jordan 4 is dope. I get it. But a lot of people really want that shoe because they know it's worth like $60,000 or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean to an extent, but also I think, and I do agree with that, but I think it's very tough to determine why people want.
Well, you can't.
certain shoes.
I know you can't say
Conclusively, yeah.
The only reason why you want the shoe is because of the resale value, but it just seems a little conspicuous a little bit that the only shoes that you're
Exactly.
interested in are the ones that are worth this much money.
Which is fine, but not where my tastes are. My tastes don't align with that. So
Like, are there still shoes out there that, and I know it's impossible to do, this is just hypothetical, but if we strip away the rarity, the resale, and the storytelling behind it, but you just show you a shoe, like you almost take it back to
That's a
nine.
that's
No,
so
it's fine.
That always comes up though.
It
and that's
is
tough to
but
do.
you talk about 9-year-old, all of us, right?
It's tough
Where
to do.
you're probably stuck with your mom taking you to Kmart or Payless and picking out
I still smell Payless. I know the exact
But
Payless
when
smell.
you
Will never
remember
leave my mind.
the shoe racks with the box top off, and they're
Yep.
all arranged by sizes, and
it
you're
smells
just
very rubbery and
and
Payless.
and you're just going through the shoes that you may be
boxes,
having
carpet.
you may be having for the school year this year, and you're literally just picking them off of, I like this one, I want to wear this one, you know, because they're all probably the same $20-$30 at the time. Where if you can take yourself back to that mindset, but all of a sudden it's Red Octobers, Air Force Ones, etc. And these
Nike
are just
mags.
Yeah, these are just things
Dunks.
you have.
Yeah,
I
in
honestly
a vacuum,
think
you have to determine whether
a
or not
Nike
you like
mag
them.
out of all the shoes, you would not want at all.
What? No,
No,
you
no,
would
hold
want
on.
that?
No, if you strip apart
I don't know.
the
It's kinda
story,
cool.
no,
The lights,
The
no,
lights?
the storytelling, but the shoe being this high,
the silhouette.
yes,
Okay, but everything
no, I get
else,
it. Yeah, you,
Look at the mischief boots.
yeah, but you probably would have wanted LA Gear shoes, probably even more if you're just in it for the lights.
I had the lights.
all the lights.
Ah, I had those. Yeah.
He's stomping
I
around. I
also
thought you were
had
playing
Reebok.
DDR for a second.
Also, I believe Reebok had Reebok ERS, and I was very
Energy
up.
return system.
No.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
I think so,
How
yeah.
popular was it?
It was okay. Our friend Hikmet actually, back in the day, did a Reebok ERS collab that the shoe actually smells like oranges.
Yeah.
So, I had a pair of Reebok ERSs, and I remember going to school and someone being like, "Really, you got the Reebok ERS and not the Nike Airs?"
They fried you
Yeah.
for the Reeboks?
Yeah, literally. That's you remember they were like, "Really, Reebok ERS instead of Nike Air?"
Let me ask you this. In that moment, did you vow to better your sneaker collection or get some sort of vengeance? Because a lot of us have that sneaker origin story.
They need to
of,
level up.
I got the Bobos, and then from that point forward, I knew I would get all the shoes I ever wanted. Did it stick out for you like that?
You know what I said? I said to myself, one day, listen, you're gonna have a show. You're gonna have multiple shows, right? And on YouTube, and you're gonna get Ronaldo, and you're gonna go to China, and you're gonna, and one day, listen, you're talking about my Reebok ERS. I'm gonna have the Inter Milan friends and family one day. That's what it stuck out to me. But all kidding aside, I remember, which is
You
actually,
remember?
actually a funny roast.
Remember
It
as
actually
well.
was a funny roast, and I
It
remember
didn't hurt you?
no, but I remember telling my mom like, oh, like Reebok like Reebok ERS, they're not like the Nike Air. The other thing that I
What'd your
remember,
mom say?
she like tried to, I don't know, soften up. The other thing that was wild that my mom did, this is true, is Tiva and Reef were all the rage.
Yeah.
And
I loved my
had-
Tivas.
Bro, they were fire. I had a pair of Tivas.
I did a whole summer in Tivas once.
So did multiple summers,
Yeah.
7 straight
Straight to the
summers.
beach.
Critics might not admit it. No one else did it like I did it, though.
What
Okay,
else? What
but
else? What else?
hold on. This Tiva, I remember the one summer she tried to get like generic, maybe like I don't know who would have it, Target or whatever, called like Kmart.
Kmart,
And
Caldors.
she saved the little Tiva tag and tried to like sew it on.
Your mom tried to trick
Yes.
you?
Yes. She did.
She made bootleg.
She broke out the
Tevas
sing.
for you?
I don't even know how
Sewing
you.
tigers on your shirt. Remember when Biggie said it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you want to see the inside? See,
Wow, I'll see you
exactly.
later.
But I don't even know how she. I was like, Mom, I'll wear regular sandals. It's fine. But yeah, a little. Listen,
She broke out the Singer sewing machine.
the Reebok Urs and the Tevas that she was trying. So
You
Yeah.
you might need your own Reebok project at this point. How fire would that be? The Urs? Get our boy Durs in there?
Durs and Urs, and then you do the sneaker release in Greece with Teddy.
okay. Wait, why in Greece?
Because that's where you sourced your Reeboks from, the dime Reeboks.
And you got the dime.
I'm dying
Wow,
out.
everything is
Dropping
connected today.
dimes.
The
Dropping
confluence.
dimes. Exactly. That fly really. Look, it's on your.
The fly landed.
I
on my
remember-
Compass
I really
water
pride
bottle.
myself on having the good enough reflexes to kill a fly, and
With
it's
the chopsticks?
bothering me.
What was that movie? Jungle to Jungle.
What about it? That's a classic, a Tim Allen classic.
Yeah, and he's wearing. I think he's
check
wearing a.
He's trying to get the satellite phone to connect in the middle of the wilderness.
Yeah, but I think the son comes to New York City and has like the blow dart gun. And he
Okay.
like kills a fly.
What about the blow dart from old school?
Oh yeah.
Stifler?
Everything's connected.
But I remember back in the day. I think it was in first or second grade when this was when Reebok pumps
Oh,
were
amazing.
all the rage, and I ended up getting
Yeah.
the Reebok pumps. I didn't have cool shoes like growing up a lot, but that 1 year stretch where I had the Aqua Jordan 8s and the Reebok black top pumps, and I think I had the cross training pumps that Emmett Smith wore. Those were like the 3 cool shoes I had.
Were those called the pay dirts?
Something I forget, but it was like the preseason.
Good
I
burger
think it was
will let me know.
preseason Reeboks. But there was a brand. There was like a Bobo brand called Jax, Jax. That
Like from Mortal Kombat, Jack?
yeah, they also made a pump shoe at the
Okay.
time, and there was a few people who came to school with the Jax on.
Instead of the Reeboks.
But this was like the weird like kid thing where you know how there was like some people who didn't have the cool thing, but they were somehow able to like try to convince people that this was actually
Yeah, I got the other thing. I got the thing that you don't know about. This
yeah,
is the
and
cool
I wasn't there to like I wasn't trying to be like, oh, you don't have Reebok pumps. I just
didn't have
didn't
the
know.
gates
I just didn't know what it
closed
was,
back in the
but
day?
there was like a couple
Yeah.
people who
You weren't-
they happened to be like the cooler person or like in class at the time. I think my first grade class, they put it was a first and second grade class.
The combo.
Yeah, where there was
Combination.
Yep, exactly.
but there was a few older kids. There was a few like they were a year older than
Yeah.
you, and they would be in class. So you'd always look up to the kids who were like a year older than you, and they had the Jax pumps on, and they tried to convince like us first graders, and they were the second graders that the Jax were actually the
cool ones.
cool thing. And it's funny just looking back at that, thinking that, oh man, like the Jacks are the cool thing. How come I can't find them at the sneaker store? And it was like thinking that it was actually the rare thing that you had to hunt down and find. But little did I know it was probably because they didn't sell them at Foot Locker.
Have you ever tried to find them these days?
I actually
Rediscover
looked.
them?
I think I looked it up, and I think they got like sued by Reebok at the time, and just
Really?
got put out of business.
Wow, but you really looked up to the guys with them. They were packing the Jacks in the back of the class.
Yeah,
Bars. Bars.
I think the one shoe I had back then, and I think I did get fried for it, was I think my mom had got me at there was a store called Ames. That was a department store in New England,
Like J.C. Penney style?
yeah.
He's trying to get the fly.
But I ended up getting a pair of Everlast, not the rapper.
That's not a. That's those
no,
aren't
but I
too
got
bad, though.
I got fried for it.
Destroyed for having Everlast
And
sneakers.
someone's like, they make boxing gloves,
Yeah,
not
Mike Tyson.
shoes.
Mike Tyson wore that.
I know, but I don't know why I got fried for wearing Everlast shoes back in the day. It happens.
Traumatic memories.
I know. We kind of did all right, I guess. Before we get out of here,
Should we? Oh, yeah.
we should talk about the LeBron 21.
Yes, absolutely.
Looks pretty good to me. A lot of people saying it looks like has kind of like a Kobe DNA, but
I think people said that about the 20 as well.
Yeah.
kind of has some of the design cues maybe of the Kobe 4, but I saw like the suede model that I don't know if he leaked it or it looks pretty luxe.
I think they look good. I mean,
There's almost like a rose gold or gold to it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you feel like him wearing them was at all in response to me saying on this podcast a month ago that I had seen them? Do we think LeBron heard that, or do you think that factored in?
Maybe.
No,
Yeah,
no,
maybe.
that's 100%, 1,000% a joke for anybody
yeah.
listening. I like the look of the shoe.
Me too.
I think the LeBron line has done well to swing the pendulum
It
back.
needed a reboot. It already had one to some degree, because all the shoes, 7, 8, 9, 10 were hot. 11 was that
11 was one of those ones where he just did not wear it.
Yeah,
and there's been a handful of LeBron shoes like that where Nike will never really acknowledge the extent to which
we
he's
heralded
just
it at the
not
time.
wearing
I
it.
remember that was when I first started working at Complex, and Russ and DJ Clark Kent thought that was the greatest shoe of all time. Because
Hold on, I'll say that I was a big LeBron 11 fan. I bought 2 pairs at retail of the King's Pride Nike LeBron 11. I liked that shoe at the time.
Not
so
my
we
favorite
ranked
one,
it as the
but-
best shoe of the year. But I don't think it aged well. But then I think
Yeah, I got
after
rid of my
that,
pairs.
12, 13, 14, LeBrons were forgettable. And they was a LeBron watch was when people oh, LeBrons
Yeah,
are
That
back.
was cool.
Yeah, that was
cool.
cool.
That was fun. And the retro stuff coming. I mean, people are excited about that. The purple AZGs.
He's had a few models that I really, really liked. I like the Zoom Generation 1. My favorite, and maybe it's hype or prisoner of the hype machine, the LeBron 8.
All time.
South Beach.
South Beach, just
Come on.
classic. I remember.
Sprite
I even got.
LeBron 8 lows.
I remember getting Mr. Brando the Entourage LeBron 8s. Remember those?
The
Blue and
blue
yellow?
and yellow, yep.
Yeah, I was taking the train still from Long Island and coming right off 34th Street, going into Foot Action in the morning. And I remember I picked those up for him. There was a bunch of 8s.
Yeah.
But I do like these 21s. 21. And I think we're going to see a lot of good colorways out of them.
I'm excited for
I
what's
think
to
so
come.
too. And I guess I had mentioned it briefly to Brendan on a live that we did. And I just want to throw it on the podcast somewhere people can hear, because I thought it was a cool story. I had a pair of LeBron 20s. They were okay shoe, but just something I'm just trying to get rid of stuff because I have too much.
Yeah.
There's this guy James who lives across the street. Cool dude. I've known him for years. He's kind of into sneakers, whatever. He was outside cleaning his Escalade on rims in the street, which is cool in itself. And he was wearing a pair of OG Royal foam posits. So I mean, he's like a sneaker guy, you know, but he's more into basketball, Air Force One stuff. And I'm I would know we're the same size, and I had a pair of LeBron 20s in my house, and I'm just I go outside, and it just caught him off guard, and I was like, dude, hey, do you want these?
Wow.
Want a pair of LeBrons? And just I'm not doing it to be I'm a good guy per se. It's just nice to get rid of things and give them to people who are gonna appreciate them more than you. But it was just a random moment of spreading the LeBron
Goodwill.
love.
Who has a gold star? Let's give it to him for that good deed. Or a shiny nickel.
Yeah.
But I like that. I'm all for it. Also, we got to talk foam. One piece of foam posit news. I don't know if you saw it this weekend.
Was it our friend Tyler?
Yeah,
Our
that's
friend Tyler Mansour?
Yeah, the foam pot. Did you see his feature on
Flies
Soulmates?
floating around.
Hypebeast?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
He had
Good
some
for
OGs
Tyler.
in there. Shouts to Tyler.
Always happy to see Tyler shining.
Absolutely.
There's one more thing I want to address, and I know this is a thing we always come back to, but
Another soul burster. Just checking.
no,
Just making-
even more compelling than that, if you can imagine. This week marks the latest launch of Yeezys from Adidas. Joe's focused.
I really need to
Fly,
get
the
that,
fly
but go ahead.
keeps
Sorry, I don't
landing
wanna-
on my water bottle. No, Yeezys are back. They're arriving at boutique retailers this week. Just as we expected. I think one of the more interesting things about this, and this is not new to how Adidas approaches Yeezy releases, but it's very calculated, and they're being very strict about what exactly people are allowed to post when it comes to the Yeezy launches. You're only allowed to post about them one time on Instagram. You have to use this exact template.
Oh
that
yeah,
Adidas
yeah. I
supplies.
saw
Really?
that.
Yes,
They're
this
we're
is-
getting the shoes. Is it?
I
the
missed
second,
all of this,
it's
by the way.
Second, it's the second and third.
Yes.
That the shoes are coming out, and there'll be a template.
Yes.
Where it insert name of retailer. Where
Exactly.
It's I don't know if it was the second or third, but it was End Clothing is getting these shoes on X
Wow.
date. Offspring posted. Offspring is getting the shoes on this date.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And this has always been the
Totally
case
miss this.
with Yeezys, where if you remember at the height of their popularity, where you could only really circulate the official Yeezy product images with that kind of plain
And that's what
background
this
on
was.
them.
That's what this was. It's that tannish with the black Yeezy
yeah.
font.
And there was even one message that Adidas sent to some of their retail partners, basically saying exactly what they were allowed to say internally on the subject, which was, quote, We support Adidas' thoughtful approach of selling some of the remaining inventory of Yeezy products and donating them to select organizations working to combat discrimination and hate, including racism and anti-Semitism. So Adidas even gave messaging to their retail partners of like, if anybody asks you about the Yeezys, this is exactly what you have to say. They were only allowed to sell them online, no lines, no first come, first serve. So it seems set up in a way that was to, yes, get the shoes out there and sell them and benefit Adidas, benefit the stores who could sell them, and benefit hopefully these anti-hate groups, but also make it as little of a moment as possible, where don't talk about it a lot online, don't have people crowded out in front of the stores, don't display them really prominently, just sell the shoes as quick as you can, get in and get out.
Very interesting.
Yeah, seating, gifting, anything like that was not allowed when it came to these sneakers. Wow. Yeah, super controlled, and we'll see what the future of Adidas
and
Yeezy
that
is.
first restock did or that first release a couple
yeah,
weeks
I
ago.
mean, we've seen all the headlines about how many hundreds of millions, of dollars it made for everybody. So,
Oh, can we use that before we go? Just to, I guess, to clarify, because I know people were in their feels about last time we were talking about Yeezy products, saying it wasn't a sneakerhead shoe.
I was like, I still think people want a 350, and you guys were like, I don't think so. A lot of the comments.
No, we didn't say that. You had said that everyone who wanted a 350 had gotten a 350. That's what I thought. That's what we were saying.
That's what you were saying. I was saying like, I still think that there's a bunch of people out there who haven't got a 350.
That's what.
That's
what we mean.
But you guys said that you guys.
I had disagreed with that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I thought you did too.
But our audience is saying that that's not the case.
A bunch of comments were like, "No, 350 is still a shoe. Like, I want to."
I love to hear
But
from
you
the
still
audience.
want to own. But I think that I just had thought that at this point that you would have at least hit on something,
because there's so many opportunities.
If you've wanted Yeezys for the past 5-6 years that they've been around, that there had been some of these mass releases that, like the cream restock that they did, where basically the shoe wasn't on a pre-order per se, but those
Champs and Foot Locker had
they
hundreds
were
of thousands of
available. I
pairs.
remember that when they dropped that shoe, you could buy them for like 12 hours that day on the site, that they were still available. So it's like if you were there for those, it felt like you couldn't have not bought them.
Yeah. Also, did you notice Foot Locker didn't post the announcement about having Yeezys? It's all the small stores, the big box stores didn't put that out there.
All I just want to say is, just to clarify things, is people had gotten upset that we said that the 350 wasn't if you were the 350, you're not a sneakerhead. That's not what we ever said. It was more so just a statement of saying we think the 350 has gone past the point where if someone's wearing the 350, you automatically just assume that they're a sneakerhead.
I agree.
You just see so many people wearing it where it's not saying you are a sneakerhead, you're not a sneakerhead, but it's just like you see someone wearing white Air Force Ones, you don't automatically assume they're a sneakerhead. It's just because so many people wear them. Which is totally
Lost
fine.
some of that original connotation.
It's totally fine.
Sure.
Okay. Listen, I think we touched on a bunch of topics.
The only thing we
today.
didn't touch on is this fly is floating around. You're
know.
supposed to karate chop it out of the air. You couldn't handle that?
I don't know.
Couldn't handle that assignment?
I know. I feel like it's a challenge now, but I don't know. I think the fly won this time. But some news.
Yes.
We are going on a break. 3 weeks.
Summer vacation.
Yeah. Really apologize, but it is the summer. We've been traveling a lot. We've had a very busy, packed shooting schedule, so we are taking 3 weeks off. We're going to recharge.
We'll be back right before the end of August.
Yeah, we'll be back in 3 weeks, and hopefully there's a lot of sneaker news to get to, and hopefully you guys binge some of the past episodes that we've had recently. And yeah, 3 weeks.
There's a lot of old episodes to check
What are we
out.
doing?
Hey, it's the CrossFit Games this weekend.
Are you an entry?
No, but not
Is SummerSlam
right?
this week?
Sadly, did not qualify. But hey,
Wow, did you try to qualify?
everyone participates in the first stage of it, not thinking you're going to qualify, but
I
just
didn't
as a community.
You didn't
thing.
know that?
I didn't
Just
know.
as a community
Yeah, I
thing.
had
But
no
hey,
idea.
Okay.
spend your time and go watch it this weekend.
SummerSlam?
SummerSlam.
CrossFit
Wow.
Jesus?
Tell me other things that I could not possibly
CrossFit
care less
Jesus?
about.
Seth Rollins? SummerSlam?
CrossFit. What else?
And also, I was a little disappointed at seeing our boy Dustin, who ain't got jujitsu, Poirier,
I
Another
know.
thing I don't care
getting the
about.
head
There you go.
kick.
That was a tough one. but
Me and
two
Joe, we were
great
like literally
competitors.
right after it happened.
Wow. Yeah. Two
Yeah.
great competitors. Derek Lewis, though.
Oh yeah,
Hitting the Triple H.
drop the
Do an ISO. Poor guy. Look at
drop the shorts.
I'm lost. Yeah, I'm ready to go right now.
Listen, you have time to catch up on the UFC in these 3 weeks.
Won't be doing that.
Listen, 3 weeks off. Hope everyone enjoys kind of like the rest of the summer. We'll be back, ready, recharged. Go binge, like I said, some past episodes. Hope everyone has a great weekend, a great few weeks. We will see you in 3 weeks.
Wait, you won't eat meat, but you'll kill a fly?